Hey everyone, and welcome to The Explainer. Today, we've got a wild story for you. It all starts with a super fun day out with friends, but it ends up as an adventure inside a giant monster. You ready? Let's jump in. Just imagine it for a second. You're out. You're having the best day ever with your friends. And then you find what looks like the most awesome cave you have ever seen. But what if it's not a cave? What if it's actually a monster, just waiting for you? Okay, so our story begins on this gorgeous morning in a forest called Vrindavana. This young boy, his name is Krishna, he and his friends are all heading out for a picnic. They have absolutely no idea what's about to happen. So Krishna wakes up super early and he blows on this special horn he has. And that sound, it just travels all through the village. Next thing you know, literally thousands of his friends come running, and they even bring their little calves with them. They've got their lunch bags, and they are so ready for a fun day. And oh, you better believe they had the best time. Some of the boys were playing music on their flutes, others were singing right along with the buzzing bumblebees. They were dancing with peacocks, chasing bird shadows on the ground, you name it. They even had these playful fights with the monkeys up in the trees. And, like all good friends do, they'd get a little mischievous, snatching each other's lunch bags and just tossing them back and forth, all of them laughing like crazy. All of these boys were Krishna's best friends. In the ancient language of Sanskrit, there's a really cool word for that, matroni. It's this beautiful word for the friends you have your biggest adventures with. Why don't you try saying it? Matroni. Awesome. But right when they were all laughing and playing their games, something pretty terrifying showed up on the path ahead. Yeah, their perfect day was about to get really, really strange. So here's the deal. There was this evil king, Kamsa, who was super jealous of Krishna. So he sent a really powerful demon named Aghasura into the forest. Now, Aghasura was already angry because Krishna had beaten his brother and sister, so he wanted revenge. And his plan? Oh, it was a nasty one. He wanted to swallow Krishna and all his friends in one single gulp. Aghasura. He was what you'd call an Asura, and that's the Sanskrit word for a powerful demon. And let me tell you, this Asura was especially sneaky. He decided he was going to use his magic to set up a trap. To set this trap, he changed himself into a giant python and opened his mouth unbelievably wide. I mean, get this. His bottom lip was sitting on the ground, and his top lip was literally touching the clouds in the sky. It looked exactly like a giant cave, just waiting for them. And his disguise was amazing. His huge teeth looked just like snowy mountain peaks, and that long red tongue, it looked like a big, wide road. Even the air coming out of his mouth felt like a hot, windy day, and his eyes were glowing like fire. It was the perfect trap. So you can see why the boys had no idea they were looking at a monster, right? To them, it just looked like a brand new, amazing place to go exploring. So, let me ask you. If you saw a cave that looked just like this, would you go inside? Well, let me tell you, Krishna's friends were more than brave. They weren't scared at all. Actually, they were excited. They ran straight for that giant mouth, just thinking it was some cool new thing they'd found. One of them pointed and yelled, "Hey guys, look at this! Do you think that's a real python or is it just a cave made to look like one?" They just couldn't believe what they were seeing. Then another friend chimed in, "Yeah, look, his tongue is just like a road, and it's so dark in there, just like being inside a real mountain." They were totally fooled, but they weren't worried. Not one bit. One of the boys even started laughing and said, "Hey, even if it is a real monster and it tries to eat us, Krishna will save us, just like he always does." They trusted their friend completely. And just like that, laughing and clapping, they all marched right into the demon's mouth, with their calves trotting right behind them. But Krishna sees everything. And he knew the truth. He knew this wasn't some fun cave. This was the demon Aghasura, and he was about to trap all of his friends. Krishna knew he had to do something, and fast. So, as Aghasura was getting ready to snap his mouth shut forever, Krishna knew he was the only one who could save his Mitrani. And what he did next was just incredible. So first, Krishna just calmly walked right into the demon's mouth. Aghasura probably thought he'd won. But once Krishna was inside, he started using his special powers. He began to grow bigger and bigger and bigger. He got so big that he completely blocked the demon's throat. Aghasura couldn't breathe. He started to struggle and shake, and then, pop! The demon just burst apart. And with just one loving look, Krishna brought all his friends and all their calves right back to life. The second that demon was defeated, this amazing bright light just flew out of its body. It kind of hung there in the air for a second, and then it went right inside Krishna. And way up in the sky, all the gods who'd been watching, they just started to celebrate. They threw flowers down and played beautiful music, cheering for Krishna's amazing victory. And you'd think that's the end of the story, wouldn't you? A great rescue, a big celebration, the end. Well, not quite. There is one last, really strange secret about this whole adventure. That's how many years went by before the boys told anybody about what had happened. Can you believe that? A whole year. They didn't say a word. And this is where it gets so interesting. The whole thing happened when they were in what's called their Kamara age. So when they were about 5 years old. But they didn't actually tell this story until their Paugonda age, when they were 6. A whole year had passed by. How is that possible? And here's the craziest part. When they finally did tell everyone the story, they remembered every single tiny detail. For them, it didn't feel like something that happened a long, long time ago. Nope, it felt like it had just happened that very same day. So that's the final puzzle of this story, isn't it? How can a memory that's a whole year old feel so fresh, so real, like it just happened a few minutes ago? It's a magical thing to think about, a real puzzle about time itself. Thanks for joining me on The Explainer. I'll see you next time.